Welcome, everybody, to Sober Life Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jones. We're coming to you from Sober Life Studios, and this show is brought to you by One Brother, One Sister. One Brother, One Sister, the nonprofit that provides training and education in the areas of trauma, mental health, and, of course, addictions and alcoholism to first responders. Our first responders are the ones who keep us safe, that take care of us, and certainly support our way of life. So we're talking about police, fire, military, and of course, dispatch and paramedics and all those that go along with it. So if you see a first responder, thank them today. Buy them a cup of coffee, do something nice. And also go to onebrother1sister.com if you'd like to make a donation so we can continue to bring these trainings to our first responders at no cost. But again, back to the Sober Life Podcast. Please like this show, subscribe to our channel, and share this with your friends. We've got a guest here. Joe, we've done a dozen shows together maybe, but Joe Bryan. And people may remember from a while back, Joe Bryan he ran the Beachcomber Treatment Center. He is now retired and busier than he was when he was working.
Oh, really? We had the first, what was it? What do we call it? Fundraiser or your year anniversary for One Brother, One Sister in December. Yeah.
Was that
what would we call that? What do we call that? That was your first big.
It was our first fundraiser that we did.
Big fundraiser. We had the police chief there and the mayor.
I forgot what we called it.
I don't know what we called it, but we had a great time at the Beachcomber. We had a lot of food.
We had a lot of food. We had a lot of great support.
Yeah.
It was like a who's who of treatment centers there.
It was your first, I guess, your yearly fundraising.
Fundraising.
Yeah.
And
I was hoping to do it every year, but unfortunately, I didn't stay at the Beachcomber long enough.
Well, let's talk about this. Now, you've been retired for how long? About.
Well, realistically, I was at the Beachcomber, but I did not work. I say you can say that. So I've been out of the Beachcomber, I'd say 2.5, 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really, 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got, you had a lot of things. You moved your physical location, you did a lot of different things, and you've done tons of traveling. Is retirement starting to feel good to you?
Well, yeah. The first day I had to move because I lived on the Beachcomber property, so my life changed dramatically. I went from a 4,000 square foot house to 1,700. So I left a lot of things behind.
Yeah.
And I lived at the job. So I worked, it was one time 7 days a week. So my life dramatically changed. But actually, I one time, because I worked there 43 years, I thought I could never, ever leave. But frankly, I'm kind of happy now. Like I was telling you before, done a lot of concerts, called 3 Dog Night, Santa Ana. Going to go see Deep Purple. And now I get to travel. I was going to Amsterdam, Ireland twice, which I didn't do when I was working. So,
plus the concerts, concerts. Let's have some fun today.
Yeah,
let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe it. I looked up. You told me this morning you're going to see Deep Purple. What is that? Wednesday night or something?
This Wednesday.
Yeah. So I looked it up, and it said Yes was their kind of like they always have the big name. Then it said with Yes, a special. I would think Yes would get a higher rating than Deep Purple, but I guess not.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? They're going to concerts now for me, which I hadn't done in a while. Well, 3 Dog Night, they're all about 80, and they're in great shape, and they're playing music, but the last time I saw 3 Dog Night, we were all 18, 19, 20, so here I am.
It goes back a little ways.
Everyone, it is, well, that's what I'm saying. They've been a long time. And so this time it was the opposite. And it's still, I don't know people who notice it, but you never realize how old you are until you're with all the people your own age.
I went a few years back, I went and saw Cher.
Yeah, okay.
I've never seen so many walkers and canes in one area, in one place. I was like, holy shit. But a fantastic concert.
Oh, yeah.
And this is something you stopped doing for a while.
Yes.
Because you were busy and you had other things to do. So is this like a passion you share with your wife to go out and see movies and or concerts and to go like on these trips?
No, the trips are a lot more on me because she's still working. So
that's
yeah.
You can't stand there, Karen. Karen just came in through.
That's what I was thinking before we started. Okay, what should not do? Oh, tapping's not a good idea because it may be in front of the microphone. things that
Yeah,
people
yeah,
do,
yeah, yeah.
or describe. And here she's she's more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is just us, though. We're laid
That's
back
right.
like this. But so have you seen music wise? I know you love music, and
Yeah. No, I don't.
you're an old hippie soul.
Yeah.
Is there a band that you really want to see that you haven't seen yet?
No, I just I was never. I was not a big concert going fan because I didn't like the crowds as much. But I listened to music a lot. But it was really I wanted to go to smaller venues. Now I did that. I saw them when I was at FSU, so in the smaller venue. But I never went to the larger venue.
You never went to the big
No,
concerts.
I went to one. It was at the Orlando James Dream Bowl, Fourth of July. Well, in the day, you can imagine what that's like. It's 100 degrees, and then people were passing out because they were drinking and doing quaaludes in those days, and so they were drinking quaaludes, and it was all this hot. And that was with ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner and that group at that time, which I liked. But mainly it was you're trying to find shade the whole time.
I know. I've been to some those outdoor concerts
Yeah.
in Saratoga, New York, at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center,
Right.
outdoor venue,
Yeah.
and I saw Doobie Brothers there. Saw John Cougar Mellencamp, a whole bunch of people there, But there was like one tree, and everybody would try to get under that tree.
Right.
And funny story is back when I was first sober, and my mom was sober, and all my friends were sober. We had a whole group of us that went together.
Right.
And my mom got in trouble for climbing that tree to get a better view. And I'm like, Mom, don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass me.
Don't break a limb because we need that limb.
Yeah, really.
Well, here's something also is funny about the concerts that you go to, especially in West Palm Beach. They know the show's going to end around 10, right?
Yeah. And
they usually try to leave before the last song. So it's weird, in our day, we're trying to get them to do an encore.
Yeah.
And even I had a band come there, and I think they're perplexed because they always do an encore. Well, they come out and do their encore and have to be they're walking down the aisle trying to, should I go back to my seat? Or should
well, listen, when we were young, if it was 8 hours straight, we'd be fine.
Right. But they're trying to be the first ones, and I understand that. Get your car out before the traffic gets going.
I know.
But the old days, you would stay there and have the light and try to be the last one out of the parking lot.
That's why you put a cooler of food in your car.
Yeah.
And that way, when you leave, you have a little tailgate. Don't even try to leave the parking lot.
Yeah.
Just play some music in the parking lot, sit and eat a burger or something, and watch everybody else try to get out. Wait till the end. Why rush? Enjoy it.
I don't know. I think at a certain age, it's like this. It's automatic. You can't fight it. But I mean, there's probably something else. I mean, what else is that you do automatically? I don't know. That people don't understand. I mean, turn the lights off. I don't know. Maybe that.
Here's the difference in age, Joe. When we were young, we would try to make up excuses why we have to go to a party.
Right.
And now that we're older, we make excuses why we have to leave the party early.
That's it. That's right. And I always laughed at the people going for the, early bird, and Seinfeld made fun of that. Well, let me tell you something. There's a reason you go for the earlier thing. Because if you eat later, you have indigestion or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, but that's all cool. But going to these things, it's also different now. Whereas every concert I went to as a kid, you walked in, got a contact high right off the bat. People are smoking pot, smoking hash, doing this, doing that, and you're getting not anymore.
No,
I mean you can't even. You even pull out a vape, they're throwing your ass out.
Right,
they're just nothing.
And if you're inside, and some of them, the ones I've been to, I haven't even smelled pot smoke except for one of them, and that usually. But there's very little. Of people passing out and falling, or you can tell they're doing heroin. Or
It's very little of that. They're just not. It's not like the old days and stuff. And plus, the old days you used to stand in line for hours to get tickets, or camp out overnight to get tickets. I did that a few times, and sleeping on the sidewalk with people, waiting for Ticketmaster.
Well, they're still doing some of that. The Jonas Brothers folks. I don't know a lot of people. I don't know if they waited as long, but they got there in the morning. The night before in the morning, and waited. It was air conditioned though.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they could wait inside to do it. And they also did that for Def Leppard, I noticed. They were trying to get better seats. But it wasn't a long line.
Yeah.
But it's easier because it was, we're talking about the hard rock ones where you see it. So they get to be in air conditioning and there's bathrooms, there's water, and people coming by so they could order stuff from them. It's not like in the old days. You see.
See, now they take advantage. There's going to be a line, send a waiter out,
Yes.
get some orders, make some money.
And
That
so,
makes sense.
so the hard rock's making money off of that. That's a good idea, I thought. Yeah.
Whereas back when I was a kid, every dime you had in your pocket was going towards those
That's
tickets.
right. There was no extra money.
Oh yeah, there was no extra money. You were borrowing cigarettes from
Oh,
people.
yeah.
And it was, but it's a different animal now.
Sure
And,
is.
and I love music, and I wish of course, we go into music. We got to talk about it. We're on Sober Life Podcast. We got to talk about the people who have died, the musicians who have died needlessly from alcohol and drugs.
Oh yeah.
And mental health disorders, which all go hand in hand, as we know. But some of the great ones, the Jim Morrisons, the Jimi Hendrix, what's her name?
You imagine
me
Hendrix.
and Bobby McGee. What's her name? How's her name?
Janice.
Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
Such great
I wish
talents.
Hendrix is. I mean, a lot of all of you mentioned, and they're all great. I'd love to see Hendrix play where would he have gone with his music?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think Hendrix would have been one of those guys. Just guessing.
Yeah.
He would have done probably a few more albums and done a few more really big songs and done concerts. But he probably would have ended up producing people a lot too, because he was that guy who was innovative. He played a guitar when nobody else did.
Right. He was innovative. That's what I was saying. Where would he have gone? Would he go to possibly going to jazz or
oh yeah.
That's what I mean. What avenue would he have gone to, or would he come up with one of his own?
Because he was in the psychedelic rock era. He was doing that. And when that died out, what would he have done?
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of everything. He's one of the. He definitely seemed like that guy.
Well, he's good.
He was very intelligent, very
Yes.
good guy. Just a shame, but all those people. Elvis Presley, my man behind me here, lost him to drugs, and he wasn't even like that hardcore rock and roller out there. He was a Vegas act who is hooked on drugs. It's just. It's a shame how much it took from us.
Well, it takes everybody, and whether you're a Vegas act or a big shot or a mother.
Yeah. You're right. But something else is music. They also try to make these music movies that we were talking about before. They
I
try
like
to.
it. I like
and some of these are good.
I like them. I
and
do.
some of them are terrible.
I'm one of those who. I mean, I in fact, I'm going to the where you're speaking it, or movies about bands being formed. So I love these movies. I don't know what Commitments. I was saying Commitments is where they form a band. It's an English movie. Band Blast. I like that one. I don't know if it's more of a kids one, but it's really good.
And then the other one you mentioned before, That Thing You Do or something.
Oh yeah,
like
Thing
that.
You Do. That
You
was
Do.
interesting. It talks about the problem with bands. It's like a family. They have the same problems, and some of them can't stay together.
Yeah.
But there's so many.
There's very few that really did stay together when you think about it. I mean, you got like one of the biggest bands in the world that's been around forever is Kiss, and they dropped off Ace Frehley and Peter Criss, and that fell apart. The two others kept it going, but some of the bands like the Rolling Stones and the Aerosmith and those guys, they stayed together the whole time.
They did, but they also went off on their own and did some stuff, and they took a hiatus. And even the ones you're talking about, some of them just band and got back together for the end of the live tour, as you want to call it. Maybe you have another name for it. I don't know.
No. It makes sense. It makes sense. It's a shame that we've lost David Bowie because I never got a chance to see him.
Oh, I loved his music.
And Prince, I never got a chance to see Prince.
David Bowie went through a whole variety of change of music. I mean, he was very adaptable. There's a few people that did what he did.
He would be a good one to have a movie about.
He would, but think about it. He started. I mean, he did almost every genre of. He did. We did it all.
He even wrote screenplays and was in a couple of movies too, and he's done those.
He was in Dune. Wasn't that him in that one?
No, that was Sting.
That was Sting. You're right.
That was Sting. Right. But he was in The Man Who Fell to Earth and a few other films. Labyrinth. He was famous for being in Labyrinth.
Some space movie. What's the space movie he did? Did he do one of those?
Well, he had the song Ziggy Stardust and Space Oddity.
Okay, that's right.
But the thing is that some of them are really good. Like the Elvis movie, the one with Tom Hanks and I can't remember the guy.
Oh yeah, about the Colonel Park.
But yeah, I hated that movie.
I didn't really care for it, but again, because it wasn't about Elvis, it's about Colonel Parker.
Yeah, I wanted it. It really didn't touch on the real life of Elvis as much. You're right. It was they kind of like had these moments, and then they again push these things out there that didn't happen.
Yeah,
and it's like, don't you can't.
Well, that's
do
always
that.
going to happen in movies.
You can't. Be, but when you're dealing with somebody like Elvis,
right?
People who love Elvis know Elvis, and they know these things.
Yeah.
It'd be like doing a Beatles movie and saying that Ringo was never in the band. I mean, you can't do it.
No.
But the other ones I've seen is Bohemian Rhapsody. About
That's good. Yeah.
that was very good with Freddie Mercury and Queen.
I've saw it a couple times.
And then I mentioned the Rocket Man with Elton John, the Elton John story. Didn't like that at all.
Right.
And you're saying you weren't thrilled with Bob Marley's movie.
Well, the Bob Marley's almost what you're saying. It didn't really focus on his music, or it focused more on his relationship with his wife and her problems with being married to Bob Marley, who, of course, had children from other women, and of course was very open about. I think they traveled with him, but he was.
Oh, really?
That bothered. Yeah, and that's what they seem to focus in that movie, more so than the music and where he went and how he changed and how he was able to go where he did.
Yeah, I mean the meaning behind some of his songs.
Yeah.
Just to focus just on how those songs came about would be more interesting.
Yeah, I've always been curious. I mean, what was going on in him? You never know. Because,
yeah. And I guess there's a Bob Dylan movie coming out.
Is it really? Wow.
Sometime either end of this year or beginning of next year. Bob Dylan movie that they're working on. Mm-hmm. So that could be interesting.
Well, I mean, one movie, Almost Famous. You saw that one, right?
Yeah.
And that was a supposedly basic true story. And they said the person, whether I've heard, was based on Greg Allman.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So right. I don't know where I got that from, but I did hear that. I love that movie. It's about the Rolling Stones. Yeah. He's a little kid, and he gets the Rolling Stones hired this little kid. Didn't realize it, and he's traveling with his band. He's only 14, 15 years old.
15 years old or something.
And there's some truth to whether of course they do some stretching it, but there's some truth to that movie.
Yeah. Well, you got to color it up a little bit,
to make it interesting.
Yeah, make it a little more interesting. But anyway, so now you're so you get a chance to do all of this stuff, catch some movies, catch some concerts and stuff like that. What's next for Joe? I mean, what do you want to do now? I mean, obviously you got some more trips planned and stuff, but what is it? What is on Joe's bucket list?
But I'm not. One thing I would love to see someone do, and I've talked to you about this, is to do a treatment center right again. And what I told you was I'd love to do is how to help someone, not me do it because I don't have the energy anymore, but open up a treatment center and. Not call it a treatment center. First of all, don't get DCF, don't get JCO, and you could fill it with do it part of a church, but do it right still. Do 12 steps, get the right movies. Father Martin. There's so much material.
So do it like a nonprofit and do it on donations and cash pay.
Cash pay should do it. If you do it right, your costs are minimal. Think about it. If you're not doing, if you don't do DCF, you're not doing. JCO. Right. Your notes don't have to be. You don't have to have the person doing notes. You don't have the billing. I mean, you cut your staff in almost 75% staff cut.
And you get to design the program without the interference,
right?
Which I understand. Listen, I understand why Joint Commission and why.
Oh, I understand. I understand.
What Florida Certification Board and the
but like all things, it's going too far.
I know they want the right things, and some insurance companies even want the right things. But you're right; it goes too far.
Right.
Because what happens is what we know, and this is why Beachcomber always worked for 45 years, or now it's got to be like 48 years, 49 years, is because. Every person that walked through there was a different person. You didn't look at them all and say, "Oh, they're all the same." Just treat them all the same. Yeah. You had to look at them all different. Well, and that's what you need to do.
But here's the part you're missing also with why right now a therapist, 75%, maybe 50% of their time is paperwork. And when we first started, it was probably 30%.
Yeah.
So, and they're
It's
using,
gotten worse.
think
Yeah,
about
you're right.
this. They're using the same amount of therapists, yet they're doing 50% to 200%, triple the amount of paperwork. How can you do this at the system they're doing like we used to do and still get what
Yeah.
you want? I'm telling you, the paperwork is horrendous.
Well, when you got to do notes on each client, if you do an individual session, there should be recording on that. I agree with that.
Right.
That's for the protection of the
Right.
company,
Right.
the wellness of the client,
Right.
and for guidance for the therapist. I understand that. But when you got a group of people, you're doing a group and you got 30 people in the room or something, and you're doing a group. Now that facilitator's got to go back and spend an hour and a half to 2 hours writing notes on all
And
this
it can't
stuff.
be pasted. It can't be pasted.
Can't cut and paste.
It has to be individualized, and it better not be all the same for each one of them. But sometimes they will check that.
Yep.
So I mean, if you really want a great quality program, and I'd love to see somebody get involved in that, is you think, imagine how many I seriously you would cut 75% of your staff, and all the staff left will be there to take care of patients only. Right now, you got half your staff don't have anything to do with patients.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I love the idea.
Yeah.
It's about getting people on board to do that idea. It's taking a risk. It's taking a risk, Joe.
Well,
But I like the idea of not calling.
Has to be
it
done by the
treatment.
right person.
I like it not being called treatment. I mean,
No.
I think
Well, the reason why you can't call
treatment's
it treatment,
been done to death, guys.
well, you can't do it called treatment, then DCF gets involved. If you call it consulting or recovery, you can do that. But once you use the word treatment, then you have to be DCF certified.
Gotcha.
That's why you don't use that word.
Gotcha. All right.
Wow.
All right. So that's something. That's something.
Well, it's something. But
What about fun stuff that you want to do?
Okay. Well, I've been doing a lot of. I'd love to play gin. I have a couple friends with gin dominoes. And what else? I like to travel. I want to go up to North Carolina again. I have trips. I used to do the. People are always poo pooing the robocalls and do the what is it called? They do the timeshares. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you guys, do the timeshare. Here's what you do. I'm gonna give you the best hit that I can ever give you here. Okay. So when the timeshare calls you now, you say, I'm interested, but I don't have enough time, or I don't. But anyway, hold out, because if you hold out, you will get $100 in a Visa card if it's the right one. Most of them,
Right.
I used to get it every time. All right. So I don't want to say you can't get it, but I got it every time. $100 Visa card, $100 for food, free stay. They make you give them the money, but they give it back to you. And then they'll give you 2 free. If you take it, they give you 2, sometimes 3 free stays. People, but what do you? So you have to sit for 90 minutes, and what you do when you go in to do the 90 minutes, you sit and look at the guy and you say, "Listen, I promised you I'd be here for 90 minutes. I'm yours, but I got to tell you, I can't afford it. Whatever your reasons are, you make it real, but I'm here because you want me here, and I will do my part."
Are they still hijacking vacationers and doing that stuff?
Yeah.
You're still
And
doing
I
that?
did it. I loved them. You know how many trips I've been to New York free? How many times? I've been to New York. I've been to New York free probably 7 times. I've been to Vegas free at least 6 times. I've been to North Carolina 3 times. I've been to Hilton Head. I can't tell you. I went to, free.
But you didn't buy any of the timeshares.
No. No.
I love it.
I like the Hilton. And here's what was one of my problems why I really got into originally. I couldn't leave work. I know there's something about me that, but it was free. I got to take it. So I did it. But before I went on vacation. So part of me did this to force myself to vacation.
Gotcha.
Then I started to learn you can play this game. They give sometimes free cruises, but you can't accept the first one. You have to wait him all. And they'll keep reading you stuff, because here's the difference. People don't understand. The guys selling the you guys on the phone is not the timeshare people. The timeshare people is someone else. So they're trying to sign everybody up. They don't care if you're.
Yeah.
They just have to make sure you qualify.
They're like a broker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why they keep calling me. They don't care if I don't buy one. They have to get 20 people in those rooms for them, and then it's up to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next time you say no to timeshare, think about that. You could get a free trip somewhere. I mean, you go to Vegas, you'll pay for it, but they give Orlando. I could go every day. It seems like every weekend if I wanted free to Orlando.
Now you're doing cruises now too.
Yeah, doing cruises there now. And
what do you? Wait, I got to ask about this. I don't get cruises.
Oh,
I don't get why you would go on a cruise.
Well, the nice thing about cruises, what I like, and you're getting think about this. All right, you go on the cruise. Or let's say you go out to dinner, and you get, they're kind of a nice dinner, but you sit there. Then the check comes. You have to pay that, But on the cruise, you sit down, have this nice meal, and they bring you an appetizer. They bring you everything. Boom, 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 and you get up and go to your room afterwards. Don't pay. I mean, that is the best thing. That makes that food go down a lot easier. I don't know about you guys, but whenever you have to sit there and you go, was it worth whatever you spent on that meal? Yeah, especially you're going nice because these are nice meals. Was it worth that? But here you don't have to do that. And it was, and then.
And there's always food. There's always a buffet or a breakfast or a lunch or a lunch.
Well, not just
or
that,
a brunch or. There's like always something, you can go and eat whenever you want and never pay for it.
Well, yeah, and if you're younger, you're younger. I did it before. I went on. I don't get off as much, but they have the zip lines now. They got these. They have a park inside. It's called the Oasis Glass. They have a park, actually, a little park. They have music there every night. They have 7 different.
Whoa! They got a park inside the boat.
Yeah, trees, everything, walkway, park. Right? They call it Central Park. The Oasis is a big ship, and the nice thing about this stuff is they have 4 different types of music playing at the same time, sometimes in the bigger ships. Every night they're there. Where can you go, listen to free music, sit down, relax, have a cup of coffee? Some people it's not for, but if I like smoke cigars, okay? So I go up the top, I smoke cigars and bring my dominoes and play dominoes, and I like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And you
don't get seasick or anything like that, or
not on those ships. And best thing that some people, I think the best one is the cheaper rooms, is the interior rooms, because they are inside, so it's less. And the best part is, if you like to sleep in, it's dark there 24 hours a day if you wanted to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm just, people always like, well, you got restaurants on the boat. I'm like, I got restaurants here. Well, they got a pool on the boat. I got a pool in my neighborhood. What do I care? It's like everything I could do off of that boat.
Yes.
And I'm not I'm not in the fear of drowning. Right. There's always been those nightmares about boats, like when they lose power or something happens or something.
So far, so good. I've been on about 15, 20. Nothing's ever happened. So in that range.
Now, what are those usually, like 3-4 day cruises?
I like I used to do the Bahama cruise that you get on it because I worked. You get on Friday and you're off by 7:00 Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it wasn't, you could do Key West or something. A lot of people like Coco Cay. That's where they all take the Coco Cay. But for younger people, Coco Cay has a wave machine, zip lines. They got everything there for people that want to do those things. I don't know about you and I. Zip lining is probably not the best thing for the wire would touch the ground. We'd hit the ground with that.
I may as well just go in the garage and hang myself. I mean, that's about as much fun as I'd have zip lining. No, not my cup of tea, but that's okay. All right, so I could see where that could be appealing. And just to having to lay back and not have to worry about anything, I guess, is kind of cool too.
Well,
and they're pretty affordable, aren't they? The cruises
they are very affordable. You just have to have the right frame of mind and relax. I mean, you and Karen are busy. One of the other parts is your phone that was the other reason I did them, because when I worked at the beach, it was hard to get away from the phone. I could not.
Oh, you're out at sea. Your phone doesn't work, does it?
Well, if you don't buy the internet package, it won't work, which you need. Because
unplugged.
Because when I worked at the beach, I got phone calls at the middle of the night, all the time, and so if I go all weekend without the phone, very, very, that's by itself is a godsend. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So go, people. Relax.
Right.
Unplug your phone. Zip line your ass right into a buffet line, and have a good time.
Well,
That is pretty cool.
it'd be nice if you take two other people. You guys, some people.
That's what you want to bring somebody with you.
Some
though.
people like to bridge. I see people do Marchand on there, and they having a lovely time. I mean, you rain on the water. Where can you play Marchand? Have a nice view. You know?
That's true. That's true.
And then waiters come and take and ask you what you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel crowded. You don't like big crowds.
No, I don't.
But
It's not crowded at all. Yeah.
it doesn't feel like.
Well, if you hang in the certain spots, like the pool is going to be a little crowded, but what I do is when we hit like certain spots, nobody's at the pool. When everyone's inshore, I all stay on the boat. I don't go to the pool.
Right.
And I'm the only one there. So yeah, and some of like the Oasis has about 3 or 4 pools. Yeah.
Going on shore, it doesn't make sense to me if you only got a short time anyway. Usually, what they give you the day, like 8 hours or something.
Well,
you could go do something
if let's say, you got 2 kids with you, you go to Coco. They'll have a blast at Coco Cay because they got everything there. Jet skis. I mean, if you want the boats, diving, snorkeling.
Sharks. They got sharks there.
Yeah. But this is for those who are into the water sports. If you're not in the water sports, you stay on the beach there, and they have a big barbecue. But it's all what you allow it to be. It's like anything, right?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and this is the biggest thing. If you're going to go on vacation, you better get the right frame of mind.
Yeah, I'm not good on vacation.
No,
I'm good for like 2 days, and then I'm like get antsy, and I want to get back to work or get back to my life.
I was that way at one time. Not anymore.
I hate staying at people's houses.
Yeah.
I can stay in a hotel room. I'm okay with a hotel room, but I can't stay.
You gotta stay at the right house.
Visit somebody and stay.
Yeah,
stay
I love it.
Really?
Yes, it's the right house. I mean, if there is 1 bedroom and that's it. No, I have a couple of friends that have a little bit bigger house. It's wonderful. Let me tell you.
I go visit my dad. My dad's got 6 bedrooms, and he's it's only him and my stepmom.
Mm-hmm.
But so you go upstairs, and that whole upstairs is yours.
Yeah.
But I'd still rather be in a hotel.
Well,
being in somebody else's house. And then somebody said, "Oh, let's go to a bed and breakfast." No,
that's not for you.
No, I'm still staying in someone else's house.
Right.
You put me in a Howard Johnson, I can tear the room apart. I'm great. Great. But no, that's cool. I'm glad you're doing that stuff.
Yeah. If I go to treatment with me, I can get you into understanding how to take advantage of all these situations.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll jump on a cruise with you sometime. Maybe we'll get a bunch of guys together. We'll take one of those short cruises, and we'll spend the weekend playing poker or something, having fun, and maybe we'll get some guys together to do that. That'd be kind of a fun.
That would be good.
Fun thing, and it's not that expensive. It's not like you're spending thousands of dollars. It's not
a good deal.
Especially somebody like me who doesn't drink alcohol at all. Right. They lose money on me because they make money on the alcohol.
The alcohol is a big deal. Yeah, that's what they make.
They make money on that. The only thing I'm going to need is I'll probably need a fairly large supply of Dramamine.
I used to be seasick, but I'm telling you, it's just.
I'm a sailor. I owned my own sailboat. I could spend I would go up sailing with my father. We'd sail to Chesapeake. We'd rent a sailboat. We'd go out either a catamaran or just a cabin cruiser sailboat. And we'd sail, sleep on the boat, do everything on the boat. Never a problem. Put me on a bigger ship.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I used to get seasick. But not on the big ships, on the little ones I would. But that's because when you're on the little boats, I think it has something to do with your looking, and if you don't focus, is that the horizon or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, the big ship, you
yeah, that's true.
It does. You don't have that problem.
Yeah. The kids, how the kids doing? I mean, they're all kind of moved on doing their thing, right?
Yes. Ian was working at the beach company. He got his 2nd degree. He's working with a company connected to Pratt Whitney. He's an engineer. Yeah, their son's works for solar panels, and he's a designer for them. And my one daughter's in college.
All right.
Yeah, and then my other daughters, 2 daughters in college. Yeah, one's here, one's in UCF. Because I had a conversation with my daughter, was the same, but a lot of people we were talking about. My daughter is overwhelmed. She goes, she says, "I don't want to do it with my degree." I said, "Do you have a degree?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, why don't we wait till you had the degree to worry what you might do with it?" Because, I always had this conversation with everybody. What happened? When we talk about halfway house, we send people halfway house. I can't last 6 months. I said, I'll tell you what. If the president of the United States calls you up and says he needs you, you probably could leave the halfway house. But in the meantime, why don't you just stay there? If you win the lotto or something goes crazy, or you get a job in Alaska, you leave. But it's one day at a time.
So I mean, so you're watching your kids. You're past your work time unless you want to do other projects and stuff. You've done your work, and now you're kind of relaxing. Right. You're watching them go into the world, and like I said, it is confusing and everything. And it's hard to you can't protect them from making bad decisions or making mistakes or choosing the wrong job. You just have to be supportive and everything.
Well,
you have to let them know. You have to let them know that, hey, listen, I failed many times too. I mean, it's okay to do something and not like it and change your mind.
But I got to tell you that we were talking yesterday, and I asked her that help her, and she said yes. I felt like I did so because when you connect. I never really reached this. I mean, we have reached. So she calls me up. This is how it starts. She calls me up. I said, something's wrong. I usually don't notice it because I'm always just self-absorbed. Okay. So she said, no, I'm fine. I said, no, you're not fine. What's going on? And she said, no, I'm fine. I'll tell you later. I said, no, tell me now. I had to pull it out of her. She tells me, and I just say, she's worried about, what am I going to do with this degree? I don't like my degree. I said, why don't you take it one day at a time? I learned that somewhere, Yeah. And why don't you just go ahead and continue with the degree? Even if you get the degree, there's a lot of lawyers that aren't lawyers. They use their law degree for something else. So you can use that degree for something else. And if you don't like it, you go for another one. My son did that. He was rocket engineer. Well, how many rockets are going up?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had to get another degree. I said, you'll do the same thing. She goes, oh, okay. And it was so nice. I solved the problem with my daughter. I don't know. It seems like the first one I really did.
You know what? I don't think I've met anybody who walked off to college and then walked straight into a life of exactly what they knew they were going to do. Right. It was always like, okay, I want to go to college for this. And then when you get out, you end up like moving here, moving there. Rarely do you end up exactly on the path that you want to be on, or that you thought you'd be on, because things change and you change your mind and all that stuff. And,
but Karen and
I think it's harder today for the kids than it was for us.
But Karen and I had the same conversation. We brought that up. But Karen and I had the same conversation. And it was funny. Well, Karen was going, and, well, I can get this. And then she said, then I'll do what we're talking about. She wanted to talk about a couple of things. I said, well, why don't you have to do one thing first, right?
Right.
It's like she wanted to do a newsletter. I said, for who? Well, for for these people we have in the computer. I said, you have them in the computer now. Well, I think you better worry about this and don't even mention the newsletter until you get but we all do that. It's one of the things that'll save you. First things first. Don't go to the next one. You can think about it once, but get the first part done. Right?
Yeah.
Because the first part sometimes never gets done. Whatever that is.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I was going to say that I think it was easier on us growing up because we could only focus on what was around us because we didn't have access to the whole world. We didn't have access to all that stuff. We can only focus on, hey, I'm in this area. Let me go check and see where I could work and what I could do here. And you were very aware of your environment because that's all you had.
Right.
Nowadays, people don't know about their own environment because they're connected to the entire freaking planet.
Right.
And they're looking at everything on the planet. When somebody sneezes in North Africa, somebody here says, God bless you. It's just, you know what I mean? Right. It's a small world. And I think that makes it harder on the kids now because they're inundated with so much information that it confuses them. Like I said, with us, listen, I got out of college. I'm living here. This is what work options do I have here? Let me go look at those jobs. Let me take a job, and then we keep going. So, I mean, I can't imagine, what the kids go through with all of that technology.
But each generation goes through. I mean, look at the generation that went through the Dust Bowl. I mean, they had it very, very hard. Or during World War II.
Yeah, that's true.
They had a job. It's hard to compare the troubles that we had were different than the troubles the new generation. But we had our own. Most people we could only afford one pair of shoes every couple years.
Yeah.
So in one sense, maybe it's okay to do without. Maybe it's not. But does that make life easier knowing you have enough to make it through the year as opposed to worrying, can you make it through the year? I don't know. Sometimes it's all worry, and I agree with you. I think we had it easier, but you analyze it sometimes, and then we had our own issues, but
had our own issues.
and it's hard to compare one generation with the others,
Yeah. Well, listen, being of retirement, I'm not going to ask how old you are.
Yeah.
But as a retired person who's
Yeah.
lived their life, I mean, I'm in my late 50s, and I choke on that when I say it. I love asking people this. What is one of the things that has happened in your lifetime that shocked you? Like when I was a kid watching Get Smart. Remember Get Smart with the phone in the shoe, and I thought, oh my God, it's freaking brilliant.
Right.
Or even Star Trek with the communicators. Right. And now we got phones that do all of those things and stuff. Is there any technology that blew you away just because you grew up so long without it, and then it's finally here?
So I think it is the television, because I mean, you got to admit that just a remote, and I still remember going outside and turning the antenna for my stepfather. He's yelling, "Oh, to the right!" It's gonna be raining out there. You're still turning this stupid antenna. Oh my God! So the remote to me was the biggest amazing change.
That was huge. Large TVs was huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the whole family used to gather around. The large TV in the house was a 19-inch television. 19-inch television with a big console case, right. Sitting on the floor, not even up in the air where you could look at it. Yeah.
If you're lucky with a big console case.
Yeah.
But it was one TV.
One TV,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And controlled by the matriarch of the family. And and in our family was not allowed to be turned on unless he said so.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the only time that it was free for us was Saturday morning cartoons, which was only like 2 hours of those. And that was your entertainment for the whole week for kids. There's nothing, unless you were watching Sesame Street and that other shit. That was it for us kids.
The funny thing is, I hated Lawrence Welk, right? I don't mind it now, but it was Sing Along with Mitch or Lawrence Welk.
Oh, Mitch Miller.
Mitch Miller.
Mitch Miller.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate those shows are good. Mine was something to be Hogan's Heroes or Daniel Boone or Davy Crockett, one of those. But now, Lawrence Welk's not that bad.
I worked at a radio station in South Jersey, an AM station, and most of the guys there were like, one of them was friends with Mitch Miller.
Oh, yeah?
So we started the Mitch Miller Hour. Once a week, there'd be a Mitch Miller Hour where they'd play the old songs. Of course, now you listen to radio, so you can't see the bouncing dot. Yeah. But it was the music he used to play, and the expectation was that people would sing along. But the old days, I mean, that was entertainment. It was different. Everything was different. Right. But so you're looking at maybe doing something with it, with some sort of new treatment thing. You're going to continue to travel. Anything else on your list of stuff you want to get done or do now? I will tell you, I do miss though. My whole idea was treatment was how we put families back together. I mean, and so I do miss that, and that was one of my joys of working the Beachcomber. Not necessarily. I mean, of course, recovery, but putting the families together because it's a family disease, and a lot of people don't see the damage the rest of families getting, but to see that this individual we can get sober is hopefully going to take a lot of the stress off the family, and they have their whatever back. Right. And the biggest thing is the stress level that addicts cause chaos, but if that person gets sober, this family gets united. It takes a while to work out some issues, but you put them back together. It's like my family. My father got sober, as I always say. If he hadn't gotten sober, I don't know if I would ever got to meet him. So that's true. That part is something I do miss. Yeah. I'm not in treatment centers anymore. Oh, I do some work with JCE in different places. Yeah. And I'm able to go in and have some hands-on with clients. But that's, not having that every day I kind of miss that too. It was watching people grow, watching somebody walk in like a jerk, and leave like a loving human being. Is so cool, I lived on the treatment center. I talked to all the patients. I asked them how I was going. I tended to know more what was going on than most of the therapists. I was there 7 days a week, so I had more time. And I talked to the patients, see how they're doing, and I talked to the therapists, see how the patients are doing.
it's something I enjoyed. So I could tell most of the time I knew more about our the patients were in the beach armor than the therapist did, and it's not usually that way for CEO.
Right.
But I did it because I wanted to hear and help and find out where someone's not getting. And so during staffing, a lot of times I had to help point out things.
Well, it's so interesting you say that, because if you're making decisions for the company as CEO, wouldn't it be better if you knew the clientele and knew what was going on? So when you make decisions, it's good for them.
Right.
And that made you very good at what you did.
Right.
We're running out of time here,
Yes,
Joe, but I want to ask you if you do a little survey for me.
Yes.
This is a questionnaire. You know, James Lipton from Inside the Actor Studio did this questionnaire with the celebrities. It came from an interviewer from France named Bernard Pivot. But
well, you pronounce that well.
Yeah, it's but this is a little questionnaire. It allows people to get to know Joe a little bit.
Okay.
So, a couple questions. Just go with it. What's your favorite word?
Favorite word is simple.
Simple. What's your least favorite word?
Would be difficult. Obviously.
What gets you excited? Like turns you on creatively, spiritually, emotionally? What is it? What gets you excited?
What gets me excited is actually when I was telling you when I do these timeshares and I get extras and freebies.
Oh, getting freebies.
Freebies is a big one for me. And working the system, as we call it. Some of my friends says I know how to work the system the best than anyone. So yeah, it's getting it. But I'm not saying you get it free and they give it to you. It's not you're taking it from them. They offer it to you.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what turns you off? What is something that you just hate?
Negative person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was around someone yesterday about that. Very negative, and I don't want that, or angry. I don't need that anymore. Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Don't curse a lot, but
no, you don't.
I don't have one. I really don't.
You really don't. Okay.
No.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Noise. Oh, quiet. None.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good answer. What sound or noise do you hate?
I hate that. It's screaming. I've been yelling.
Yeah.
But especially high pitch.
Oh,
yeah. Some of these people go crazy. Let's say they won something. I've been, because I play cards too, and they scream in a loud pitch and they won $2 or whatever it is. That drives me.
What profession would you like to do that you haven't had a chance to do? If you could walk in and try a profession, what would you like to try?
Well, I always wanted to be, which is probably not even a bartender in an island bar, and where everybody's happy. I want to be somewhere where everybody's happy.
It's actually a good answer.
And you don't have to be drinking, but to be around people that are happy. Well, it's like if people around you will bring positive energy or negative energy. So if you're around a place where it's all negative, so I always look at these guys and they're the most important person in that room for these people right now. That's kind of nice.
That's cool.
That's all.
That's a great answer. Yeah. What profession would you hate to ever have to even try? What would you never, ever do?
Well, I did intern nursing. I told you that.
Yeah.
And I got to say, the nurse field in doing the nursing homes, very difficult. Or some of the psychiatrists. So I would almost have to say, and I worked in that field, right? But not mental health, or I'd have to say working in a one of the mental health homes sometimes, something like that. They're very difficult. It takes a certain person to do that. It's not me.
Yeah, that is difficult. That is difficult. Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? What do you want God to say to you? What would you love to hear?
I always think he would say something. I thought you were going to make it for a while, but you finally did. You're in.
All I want to hear when I walk up to the pearly gates is you've got a lunch reservation with Elvis and Jim Morrison.
Well, that's one specific. I just want to get in. I don't know about you always certain questions.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
ask for too much, sometimes it doesn't happen. First you get in, then you start asking, right?
Then you start.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But you can't ask those questions till you get in.
Joe, it's been fun, man. We're running out of time,
Yes.
but I appreciate you stopping by today in between your trips and all your other fun stuff going on. And, you got, like I said, you got a concert Wednesday, then you're off on another cruise.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
The other thing I
Just
miss
have fun.
is being around you guys. So I used to be around you more, and
Yeah.
because you spin records, music, and I always wanted to hang out with you guys. I did a lot. I always act like I was trying to help you, but it's actually to hang out with you.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love doing the conferences and stuff that we
Yeah.
did together. To get to hang out with people.
Absolutely.
And really, we all work so hard in this industry to help people that sometimes we forget to just have some fun.
Well, that's always important. I always said the same thing. That's why you need conferences. In the old days, every therapist once had to go, which was a great thing then.
Yeah, they get to go for their CUs and different things like that.
Vacation,
Yeah.
and they get to hear what's going on the outside. But anyway, that was
It's
a
a
different
different world
day.
now,
Different
man.
world.
Different world. All right, Joe, thank you very much, my friend. And all of you out there, thank you very much for paying attention and watching Sober Life Podcast. I want to remind you one more time, please, to like this show, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to continue the work of One Brother, One Sister in helping first responders deal with trauma, mental health, and addictions, please donate to us, onebrother1sister.com. Your donation will help us guarantee that we can keep going. Even the smallest donation counts, so please do your best. And for Sober Life Studios, One Brother, One Sister, for my guest, Joe Bryan, I'm Scott Jones, saying thanks for joining. We'll catch you next time right here on the Sober Life Podcast.